For decades, these tracks have been silent, ghosts of a forgotten golden age. Rusting, overgrown, and practically swallowed by nature, they're monuments to a time when Jamaica was a true pioneer. But while this historic railway sleeps, the island's modern roads are groaning under the weight of a booming economy. Massive trucks loaded with minerals clog the highways, costing the nation millions in lost time and road repairs. A vital artery of commerce was severed, and it left behind a legacy of gridlock. But now, after years of decay and whispered promises, a multi-billion-dollar revival is officially underway. The plan is for this 1845 railway not just to come back, but to be transformed into a modern powerhouse that could revolutionize Jamaica's mining and logistics industries forever. This isn't a story about restoring a museum piece. It's about forging a new steel spine for the country, an artery designed to pump prosperity right back into the heart of Jamaica. Here's how they're doing it. To really get the magnitude of this comeback, we have to turn back the clock. Let's rewind to 1845. The Industrial Revolution is firing on all cylinders, and right in the heart of the Caribbean, Jamaica makes history. It became the first British colony in the Caribbean to operate a railway, a breathtaking feat of engineering and ambition that happened just 20 years after the UK itself got its first line. The Jamaica Railway Company, a private venture started by William and David Smith, laid the first tracks connecting Kingston to Spanish Town. The very first locomotives to run those tracks were given names that just screamed with the spirit of the age: Projector and Patriot. This wasn't just a novelty. It was a lifeline. This new network moved people, sugar, and rum, stitching the island together. Over the next few decades, the network expanded under both private and government hands. By the turn of the 20th century, the railway was a totally indispensable part of Jamaican life. The true golden age, though, arrived with a new global demand: bauxite. As Jamaica became a world leader in alumina production, the railway turned into the backbone of this massive industry. The Jamaica Railway Corporation, or JRC, was born in 1960. At its peak, the total network spanned nearly 350 kilometers of track, including private lines built by mining giants like Alcan and Kaiser to connect their remote operations directly to the ports. By the mid-1970s, the railway was a logistics colossus. It was moving 1.2 million passengers a year and millions upon millions of goods, the vast majority of which was bauxite and alumina. Imagine it. Powerful locomotives hauling mile-long trains of red earth, carving through the lush Jamaican landscape on their way to the coast. The railway wasn't just infrastructure. It was a statement of Jamaica's power on the world stage. But that golden age wasn't built to last. As the 20th century moved on, the rise of the automobile and a growing road network started chipping away at the railway's dominance. At the same time, the railway itself, underfunded and facing high running costs, began to struggle. Maintenance fell behind, service got less reliable, and the once gleaming network started to show its age. The final blow came in October 1992. Citing huge financial losses, the government made the decision to stop all public passenger services. The trains that once carried over 1 million people a year just stopped. Stations that were the vibrant hearts of rural towns were shuttered, their platforms left empty. While some dedicated freight operations for the bauxite industry kept going on private lines, the vast majority of the network was simply abandoned. For over 30 years, the railway became a ghost of its former self. Nature began its slow, relentless reclamation. Vines and trees grew over the tracks, turning historic corridors into green tunnels. The physical decay was a perfect metaphor for a nation that had turned its back on a critical piece of its own infrastructure. And that silence created a vacuum, which was quickly filled by tens of thousands of cars, buses, and trucks. And that brings us to today, where the legacy of that 1992 shutdown is felt in the crippling traffic that chokes Jamaica's main roads. The commute from towns like Portmore and Spanish Town into Kingston has become a daily nightmare of lost hours and wasted fuel. But the problem is much bigger than the daily commute. Jamaica's economy is booming. especially in mining and construction. The demand for materials like limestone, sand, and gravel has skyrocketed, and to move all that stuff, the country has relied almost entirely on heavy-duty trucks. This total over-reliance on road transport has created a modern crisis. The island's roads, many of which were never built for such heavy, constant traffic, are being pulverized. The cost of road maintenance has spiraled, putting a huge strain on the national budget. This is where the story pivots. Faced with a transport crisis that was throttling its own growth, Jamaica decided to look to its past to build its future. The Ghost Railway was about to get a second chance. The comeback didn't happen overnight. It started with small steps. In 2022, a pilot program was launched to bring back a limited passenger service for students in St. Catherine. It was a modest test, but the public response was overwhelming. A total of 78,933 students used the service, proving two things. The tracks, in some places, were still usable, and more importantly, the appetite for rail was huge. Now that spark is being fanned into a roaring flame. The brilliance of Jamaica's new strategy is its freight-first model. Instead of leading with passenger services, which are notoriously tough to make profitable, the revival is being powered by industry. In March 2023, the Jamaica Railway Corporation, JRC, signed a game-changing 15-year partnership with a private company, Mineral Agency for Retail and Logistics, or MARL. This deal, worth $33 million in just its first year, is the financial engine for the whole revival. The plan is surgically precise. The goal is for the first phase to be fully operational by 2026, focusing on two key industrial corridors. The first will move limestone and gravel from Old Harbor to Linstead. The second will transport marl from Bog Walk to Port Esquivel for shipment to other Caribbean islands. This move is ingenious. First, it targets a high-volume, high-revenue market right away. Projections show these routes could move 1 million tons of aggregate a year, generating around $480 million in annual revenue for the JRC. Second, it directly tackles the road congestion crisis. A single train can replace hundreds of truck journeys. And third, it creates a reliable revenue stream that can fund the network's future expansion. So how are they going to pull it off? This isn't just about dusting off old tracks, it's a complete overhaul. The project involves massive track rehabilitation to bring the old infrastructure up to modern standards. The JRC is also talking with private investors to fund new, efficient locomotives and rolling stock and to upgrade its main workshop in Kingston. MARL projects that using this hybrid rail and road system will be 20% cheaper than relying on trucks alone, a huge cost saving for the industry. This freight-first model is the launchpad for the JRC's ambitious 30-year master plan. The strategy is simple. Secure a steady income with freight, then reinvest that money into expanding commuter and tourist lines. This isn't just a local effort either. The JRC is in talks with the World Bank for grant funding and has brought in international firms like the US-based Herzog International for technical help. An academic partnership with the University of Technology, Jamaica, and the UK's University of Birmingham is also in place to develop local talent and bring cutting-edge rail tech to the island. But before we break down how this could transform the island, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the megaprojects reshaping our world. The revival of Jamaica's railway is about so much more than moving rocks. It's about re-engineering the island's entire economic landscape, and that's where the powerful analogy of the Panama Canal of the Caribbean comes into play. No, Jamaica isn't digging a canal, but it is creating an infrastructure project so transformative that it could make the island a dominant logistics hub for the whole region. Think about it. The Panama Canal's power is offering a shortcut that saves time and money. Jamaica's revived railway aims to do the same thing, but on a national scale. By providing a fast, cheap, and efficient corridor from inland production zones to coastal export hubs, it makes Jamaican industries more competitive. It positions Jamaica not just as an island nation, but as a critical node in the global supply chain, an attractive spot for foreign investment, and even the potential return of major bauxite operations. The economic ripple effects go far beyond mining companies. For the agricultural sector, the railway could be a lifeline. A farmer in a rural parish might soon be able to load their produce onto a train and get it to Kingston's markets or ports in a fraction of the time and cost it takes today. This could boost rural economies, reduce spoilage, and make the nation's food supply more secure. And then there's the human impact. The freight-first model is the foundation, but the ultimate vision is the full return of passenger rail. Phase 2 of the master plan targets the restart of commuter services in the most congested urban areas, hopefully around 2026. The first focus is the Kingston to Spanish Town corridor, with a crucial spur line planned for Portmore, the island's largest commuter town. This would be a direct assault on gridlock, promising to take thousands of cars off the road every single day. There are also advanced discussions to use the commuter rail to transport over 5,000 workers daily to the booming business process outsourcing centers in St. Catherine. In fact, some private companies are already reportedly seeking approval to build their own passenger platforms to get their workers to and from the job by train. It's not all about work either. The vision includes a major boost for tourism. A high-end tourist train is already in the planning stages, designed to link the cruise port of Montego Bay with iconic inland attractions like the Appleton Estate. Imagine gliding through the lush Jamaican countryside in a modern train with panoramic windows, sipping a rum punch, far away from the traffic. It's a premium travel experience that could spread tourism dollars away from the crowded beaches and into the heartland of the country. This project is a massive job creator. Hundreds of jobs are opening up in the initial construction and rehabilitation phases, with a focus on training local workers. As the network expands, more permanent jobs in operations, maintenance, and station management will follow, reconnecting communities with opportunities. The revival of Jamaica Railway is more than an infrastructure project. It's a symbol of resilience and ambition. From a rusted relic of the past, a modern steel spine is emerging, ready to support a 21st century economy. The project begins with freight, fueled by the mining industry, but aims to expand into a fully integrated island-wide network carrying commuters, goods, and tourists. The return of trains promises less traffic, stronger commerce, and a more connected population. This is national transformation, a forgotten giant roaring back to life. What other historic Jamaican landmarks should be revived next?